Caitlin Clark just made history breaking the NCAA women's scoring record. In this video, we're going to take a closer look at Caitlin's game to see what exactly makes her such an unstoppable scorer. Now the first place where we have to start is Caitlin's outside shooting. Clark is a high volume 3-point shooter, currently attempting over 13 threes per game, which is right now more than any active college player for both women and men. And on top of that, it's also higher than the NBA's current leader. Now Caitlin also pairs that high volume with an efficient field goal percentage, which is extremely impressive considering how difficult many of her shots are.
23 points, 3 rebounds.
Mechanics. Clark has perfect shot timing from her lower to upper body, bringing the ball to her set point and getting full extension from her knees and hips as she releases. That shot timing allows Caitlin to leverage her entire body into her shot, giving her the ability to smoothly get into these jumpers when the defense gives her too much airspace. You'll see Iowa come set this screen almost 40 feet from the basket, and with this defender sagged back below the 3, Caitlin's easily able to take one dribble off the screen and rise up for a bomb. Now one thing you'll notice on a bunch of these clips, as a righty shooter, Caitlin naturally has her right foot slightly angled forward, and this naturally gets her angled to the rim on her release. And when her momentum is being pulled towards the left, she can naturally land more squared up, allowing her to more smoothly get into her shot. One of Caitlin's go-to moves is this left-hand step back, where she simply punches off her right foot to then drift back and create space for a jumper. But as she separates, notice how Clark naturally lands squared up, with her right foot angled forward. Right here, you'll again see her separate off that right foot, to then hop back and stop her momentum by planting her left foot. And from this spot, as soon as she puts her right foot down, she's naturally squared up to the rim, allowing her to elevate into her shot. And when you pair that efficient footwork, along with Clark's range as a shooter, you have a player that's a nightmare to cover off a live dribble. Because if there's any type of defensive breakdown when Caitlin has the ball, it's gonna be an automatic 3 points. Right here, you'll see Virginia Tech have a slight miscommunication on this ball screen, allowing Caitlin to again flow to her left for the shot. Now another big element in Caitlin's outside shooting is gonna be her strength and stability. When playing off the bounce, Clark is always stable and on balance, which allows her to aggressively stop and start to create space for her pull-ups. On this play, you'll initially see her drive to her right, to then stop her momentum by going behind the back. And from here, watch how she drifts back to then re-attack towards her left. And notice how much she extends her right foot forward to create space for a step back. This is also a nice move here, where Caitlin's gonna get this defender to open up by initially attacking towards her right, and watch how she slams the brakes by both pounding the ball and planting off her right foot, which gets this defender stumbling downhill and gives Caitlin the leverage to separate into her jumper. And again, all these separation moves come back to Clark's strength and stability with the ball. You'll see her here start this attack from half court, and as soon as she gets this defender's hips to open up, watch how Caitlin is going to initiate contact with her forearm, to then punch off that right foot and separate for another step back. Now Clark also generates a good amount of threes playing off the ball, and Iowa commonly has her working off a variety of different pin down and cross screens. And similar to what we saw with Caitlin's on-ball scoring, her stability and strength also plays a big factor to her play off the ball, being able to quickly explode and shift the open spots on the floor to then catch and rise up for stable jumpers.
Caitlin, 40-piece.
You'll see Clark here feed the ball down to the post, then immediately turn and threaten this cut towards the middle of the floor. But watch how she instead flares back out towards the wing to then fire this 3 right on the catch. And then of course, Caitlin's range also plays a huge factor in her off-ball scoring, You'll see her here working off this cross screen, and instead of coming tight off the pick and moving to this open space, watch how Clark instead shifts up towards the logo and puts up this 30-foot bomb. Now Caitlin is much more than just an outside shooter, and she's very comfortable putting the ball down to make plays as both a scorer and a playmaker.
And Clark has yet to score on this quarter.
Most of Clark's drives simply stem from her outside shooting. Whenever she has the ball below half court, there's always going to be a defender in her airspace, which pretty much always gives her an automatic advantage to initiate a drive. On this play, watch how much this defender extends out, trying to put a hand in Caitlin's face. But from this spot, notice how bladed this girl's stance is, pretty much being squared up with the sideline, which gives Caitlin the straight line drive towards the rim. And Clark's ability to also shoot off the dribble adds a whole new dimension of problems for the defense. You'll see Caitlin here handling the ball in transition, and notice how her pull-up shooting threat pulls this defender up almost 30 feet from the basket. And from this spot, Clark can just simply turn on the jets and get this easy blow-by. I love this move here, where Caitlin is going to create space by attacking to her right, then snatching the ball behind. And watch her sell the shot by lifting up her eyes and shoulders, which pulls this defender out of her stance, opening up this crossover back to her right. When playing off the dribble, Clark also likes to use these lateral skips to get the defense leaning and create attacking angles. Watch her here go behind and skip out to her left, and notice how she gets this defender leaning across her frame, opening up this left to right between back to her right.
Trying to go for more. Yes!
Another one of Caitlin's go-to moves is this simple in and out. And what makes this move so effective is that Caitlin uses her entire body to sell it. You'll see her here simultaneously curl the ball across her frame, plant her outside foot, and dip her shoulders, which completely shifts this defender out of her frame. When playing downhill, Caitlin is also an extremely physical driver, being able to both initiate and absorb contact as she strides into layups. When scoring in the deep paint, Caitlin loves to play off 2 feet, which allows her to be more stable when she's initiating contact into finishes.
Off the window again, this time.
Watch here how Clark is going to get the outside angle on this drive and put the defense on her hip. And notice how she's able to keep her driving line as she carves her way to the rim, to then bounce this defender off her as she comes to this 2-foot stop. Now on this play, you'll see Caitlin here initially attack towards the middle of the floor with this crossover. Then watch her here initiate contact with her inside shoulder to spin towards the right. And notice how she's able to keep her base while the defense is stumbling backwards, and she again lands on 2 feet into her finish. Now it's time to move on and go over what I think is the most underrated part of Caitlin's game, which is going to be her passing. Clark is currently averaging 8.5 assists per game, which is the most for any current college basketball player. When looking at the film, most of Caitlin's assists open up because of her outside scoring threat. When playing out of pick and roll, Clark will commonly draw these aggressive double teams, and she's great at keeping her dribble alive and finding a passing angle. You'll see her again here pull 2 defenders towards the ball, and watch her dribble outside of this defender's frame and dot this pass to the roller. Caitlin is also great at anticipating passes, being able to laser the ball through these tight gaps to lead her teammates to the rim. You'll see this Iowa player here dart into a backdoor cut, and watch Caitlin snap this one-hand pass that hits her right in stride for a layup. Look at this play. We now have Clark playing in pick and roll, and before her teammate even opens up to receive this pass, watch how Caitlin is going to pick up and snap this pocket pass, which hits this player right on the money as soon as she turns towards the ball. I also think Caitlin is pretty good at probing and playing with pace to set up her passing. Watch her here slow down and put her eyes up, which pulls this big out of the deep paint and opens up an easy bounce pass. Now overall, Caitlin Clark checks all the boxes as an offensive player, having ridiculous range, being able to score both on and off the ball, while also having plenty of game off the bounce to put pressure on the rim. And then on top of that, she's also one of, if not the best playmaker in all of college basketball. If you want to support this channel directly, feel free to check out my Patreon for exclusive breakdowns. But regardless, I still appreciate you stopping by, and I'll see you on the next one. The kid's here.